Welcome to I Said What I Said, a sports podcast giving you opinions not heard anywhere else. I'm your host, Brad Wakai, alongside my co-host, Tyson Gentry. Tyson, big day today. The second to last edition of our pregame gambling show as we get ready for the championship weekend. And we got a whole bunch of gambling previews coming on here.
Well, it just kind of stinks that we didn't necessarily find our footing in NFL betting until the playoffs, or at least for me, you had a really good wild card round, or a better wild card round than divisional. But as soon as we figure it out, they take it away from us. Isn't that crazy?
Of course. So like Tyson said, what we got to do is we got to go through our recap from last week. We are not hiding anything. If we have bad weeks, which we have in the past, we'll come on here. We'll tell you we did bad. So I'll start with me. I went 5-6. I got to say, I was pissed at some of these results. Ravens 9.5 rocking chair play. Justice Silver 19.5 rush yards, rocking chair play. George Kittle over 53.5 receiving yards, led the game. Boom, love it. Easy money. Bucks Lions over 48.5, easy. Patrick Mahomes, I had to emotionally hedge. Got there on the 3 kneel down attempts. So he had 4 throughout the game, but at the end there, it was nice to get home as I was crying. My Bills lost to sleep as I did the Bills -2 stupidly. Didn't get that home. 49ers, I was high on them. Not even close. Them -9.5 didn't get there. Team total over 30.5 didn't get there. I thought Chris Godwin bounce back week. Apparently the Bucks called me an idiot because he wasn't close to 62.5. Here's where it gets frustrating. Jamison Williams, I thought I was being smart. He catches the ball in the opening drive. He ends the game with 2 receiving yards. So I miss out on 2.5 by the hook. And then James Cook is dominating on the ground. I have over 61.5 rush yards. In the fourth quarter, he goes backwards, 0-0. I lose by a hook because he finishes on 61. So 5-6 on the week, negative 1.65 units. Those are tilting plays, like huge swings of momentum there, Tyson.
Well, I think the James Cook one is maybe the worst beat that we've had this season. I think, you're not alone. What do you have, 67, like going into the fourth quarter or before his final 4 carries, and he went back? That was brutal. Brad has me at 3-2. I'm really 3-3. The Jaden Reed play didn't get home, so we'll subtract that unit out of here for the total. But Pacheco over 25.5 rush yards each half. I told you we're just going to keep mining that thing for the goal that it's producing. Gibbs to lead the game in rushing yards. That one, it was scary for a second when Stroud White was popping off, but Jahmyr Gibbs 30-yard touchdown helps things. Chiefs money line. Doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. Gus Edwards touchdown. I thought we were going to get there when he got the ball down at the goal line. He doesn't get in. Lamar Jackson scores the next play. And then my optimistic play, the one that I said immediately wasn't going to hit before I made it, probably should have taken my own advice. Jordan Love over 246.5 passing yards. I mean, they would have had to go the length of the field to end the game for me to sniff that thing.
Well, I didn't really understand the Jaden Reed thing. Tyson and I were waiting for like some clarification. We didn't know if that was the first touchdown of the game type of deal, which would have classified as our long shot, or if it was a play. So if he's subtracting a point off or a unit off of there, he was up 1.7 for the week. I was down 1.65. What's that?
I had it back on now that I heard that it's only 1.7. I'm just kidding.
So if we're doing it, so 1.7 if we're subtracting Jaden Reed. So then we were up 0.05. So we made some scratch. 0.05. So we're up 2 units as a podcast.
Which with our units is $500,000.
Yes, exactly. We're putting in bail bonds here, guys. Like we're retiring early on our unit size here. Well, let's continue to have a little fun here. Like Tyson and I always say, we're not professional gamblers if you couldn't tell. Like, this is when you're supposed to reduce what you're playing. Now I got 11 picks across 4 games. So, we like to have fun. We're going to be watching these games. We like to just share what we're playing with you all. If you want to hop on board, we'll tell you where you can see our other plays at the end of the show here. So Tyson and I, we're simpatico. We got 4 games in each game, 1 on the spread in each one, and then 3 props. So we're thinking alike. I'm feeling a big week. So let's start with the Chiefs Ravens. Ravens are 3.5 point favorites at home. Tyson's been crushing it this week. So I don't know if I should go first to keep the mojo the same or throw it to you as like the honors box. So I'll actually pose it to you. Do you want to give your plays first? Do you want me to give my play first?
I'll go first. I'll take the pressure off you, kind of let you, find your rhythm in the game, right? We're not passing the ball in the corner until maybe the 3rd possession, and by that point, we already know it's green light. I'm going to start it off here. Any quarter to end scoreless, plus 280. this to me, I feel like this is the classic NFL playoff game where we're going to get a long drive that ends in a punt, followed by a long drive that ends in a punt. You blink, the quarter is over. It might be a touchdown or a field goal to immediately start the second quarter or another quarter later in the game. But I do feel like these two defenses are good enough to keep each other off the board. Really, if I could find first quarter to end scoreless, that would be something I'm more interested in. I'm sure you could get a bigger number.
His Chiefs have also been bad coming out of the half this season. Maybe the third quarter is the one that's scoreless, as both teams have
the Ravens are murdering. That's a
good point. That's the scary part. But plus 280, not a bad look there. We know both these teams, good defenses. So I like that, Tyson. For me, I'm going to go Gus Edwards touchdown is my first play here. So plus 140. Now, it didn't get in last week. He was plus 120. I think the fact that we're getting better odds on him here is way better for us. Like, we know the Chiefs or the Ravens are going to run the football. Gus Edwards is going to get in the end zone this weekend. I just have a feeling he's going to score a touchdown. He didn't get it last week. It was Lamar Jackson. I think everybody's going to say, oh, well, Lamar's going to do the same thing this week. This could be a Gus Edwards 2-touchdown game. So I'm going to put an official on plus 140. Tyson, I wouldn't be surprised this guy gets in twice. And so if that's the case, maybe you sprinkle a little bit on that, which is plus 900. So it feels how, or depends how frisky you're feeling, but I'm going to go plus 140. Gus Edwards TD is my official play.
Well, we're always feeling frisky. We're always down for a little sprinkle. I took Gus Edwards off of my bet slip this week, and I replaced him with Isaiah Likely touchdown at plus 400, or plus 200. Excuse me.
No, I think it is 400. I made it 4. It is 400.
That's shortened me. He shortened me a good amount here, and I'm just kidding. I think Mark Andrews is going to play, and we know he's going to play. I think that Mark Andrews this week might pop off. More likely is that he's going to be a distraction for Isaiah. No pun intended. I didn't even mean to do that. I think Isaiah Likely has been, a revelation for this team. I don't think they ever really got to find out what they had in this guy. While Mark Andrews was healthy, we already know, like, Charlie Kohler has kind of been relegated to that the third tight end, the blocking tight end. But when Isaiah Likely gets the ball, good things happen. And they've proven that over and over and over again since Mark Andrews has broken his ankle. I don't think you go away from that in a game where you have to win. You just add it to the recipe for success.
Well, I like Gus this weekend. I'm going to go over 43.5 rush yards. I think what we saw James Cook and that offensive line do for the Buffalo Bills last week, I think we can see that with the Ravens. The difference is they're not going to go away from it. Similar setup, physical offensive line who wants to play downhill, quarterbacks who can get downhill, utilize their legs. Gus Edwards didn't have a great week last week. I have a feeling he is going to be pounding the rock heavily in this one. So I think he's going to be the feature back. Give me over 43.5 or Gus Bus getting in the end zone as well for my second play here.
Kind of abandoning your boy Justice Hill, which, it's too late in the season to hang up on that guy. I'm going with Travis Kelce to score a touchdown as my next play. I just think that the Chiefs are going to find themselves around the goal line, and I know Roquan Smith can run. I know Patrick Queen can run, and these guys can cover, and it's awesome. Kyle Hamilton can come pick them up, and all those things present real challenges. I also know that Andy Reid might be the best red zone play caller going right now as far as the concepts that he's going to bring down there. Look for Kelce to the near side pylon, kind of on a rollout from Pat Mahomes, and I think he gets in.
Tyson, I had to shout you out here. My next one, I'm going Odell Beckham Jr. over 22.5 receiving yards. So L'Jarius Sneed's been really good shutting down number one options. I think he's probably going to be on our boy Zay Flowers. The majority of the game is going to be shadowing him a little bit. And Zay Flowers is awesome. He's a great route runner. I think he's going to be able to get open. But the secondary option here is where I think Odell can eat a little bit. Now, he only was targeted one time last week, 1 catch, 12 yards. So he's going to need a couple here. But we know in big games, this guy is made for the big moments. He was incredible in the Super Bowl before he got injured with the Los Angeles Rams. Might have been on his way to winning MVP of that game. I think we may see a little Odell Beckham Jr. magic here, Tyson. Maybe one of those classic balls across the middle. He has an explosive play. Maybe all we need is one catch. But I think Odell catches a few balls in this one and gets us over that number.
It's just funny to me that you could swap his name with Stephon Diggs and you're having the same conversation at this point in the year. But whatever. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens minus 3.5 to
Ooh,
cover the spread here for my final play. I think Baltimore is much better than Kansas City. I think Baltimore shows up prepared better than any team that they've played or any team in the league this season. I think uh, they they could just win this game. If this game's played 100 times, the Ravens have 90 different ways to win, right? The Chiefs have to be, 15's got to put on the cape. He's got to be Superman. He's got to be, really the best he's ever been because he's got to turn the clock back, all that stuff. The Ravens just have to get off the bus, man, get out the tunnel and go play their brand of football. It's, they're so good. Like, they're so good. And I still feel like people were kind of like, yeah, well, we knew they were the best team in the league all year long, but none of you were saying it. Like, you can't do that now. Like, it wasn't until they beat the 49ers that everyone else was like, the Ravens are pretty good. It was like, they've been this good since week 2, week 3, week 4 when nobody wanted to put them on the TV. And I think that they come out and make another statement.
Patrick Mahomes getting over a field goal. Man, not something that you normally want to do, right? You normally don't want to be on the side of one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen getting points. That's what everybody's thinking. Patrick Mahomes getting 3.5. Oh my God. They just went on the road, beat Buffalo. Like, what's Baltimore? Lamar Jackson, you haven't seen him do anything in the playoffs. Yada, yada, yada. Give me the Ravens minus 3.5 here. This is blowout city written all over it. Blowout city. This is going to be a rocking chair play. I'm just telling you right now, everybody thinks Mahomes, he's putting on the cape. He's coming in. You're really going against Mahomes in the playoffs. Like, I can just picture every jabroni at the bar saying that. You know what we do when that happens? We go opposite. We take the Ravens. We take Lamar Jackson. We take John Harbaugh to run it down this Chiefs team's throat and to suffocate this Chiefs offensive line that hasn't been done before since that Bucs game in the Super Bowl. Because remember what happened then? We weren't talking about Mahomes like he's an Avenger. We talked about him like he was just another quarterback. When the pressure gets hot and the pocket collapses, it's pretty hard to do things. I think the Ravens do that this game. I think they control it. Lamar Jackson makes a statement, and he's in his first Super Bowl. Let's go Ravens. They cover the number.
Somebody clip that, send it to Harbaugh.
Lions at Niners. Now, this one's interesting. I should have put the number up here. Actually, let me do that now because it's 7. It's just stayed at 7, which is strange. So it opened at 6.5, got up to 7, and right now, a lot of the sportsbooks are just keeping this number at 7. So you got some key numbers everywhere. Very interesting game. Go back and listen to our preview. We said this can have a multitude of different ways this thing goes. So when you have a big number like this, I think there's plenty of ways that you can exploit this, especially with the strengths of some of these teams and the weaknesses of some of these teams. So, Tyson, you said pressure's off me for the one against the Ravens. Are you still keeping the same format, or are you throwing it back to me?
Let's let it run, man, because I'm starting off with a really boring play. If this isn't normally what I do, and I don't take pride in this one. Brock Purdy and Jared Goff to combine for 500 plus passing yards, minus 190. That's a number I don't love to see. There's not a world I don't think. And I saw the 600 plus total, and I thought about that for a second. But I do think one of these guys is probably going to hit 300. I would. If I had to pick money on which one of those it would be, I honestly think Brock Purdy has a better chance for throwing for more yards this weekend than Jared Goff. I think the explosives are going to be there for San Francisco. But, it's every time that a game is supposed to go a certain way, Brad, it doesn't go the way that everybody else is thinking it's going to go. We've been hearing fireworks for all these playoff games that have ended up, being low-scoring kind of fist fights. And I think this one, we're kind of looking at it like, man, the Lions are a fun story. They're not going away. They're going to be slinging this thing around the field trying to play catch-up, I think, for a lot of the day.
And we're talking about Lions secondary, bad. It's going to be attacked all night. Well, I think it's going to be the opposite. Christian McCaffrey over 86.5 rush yards. Now, has rarely been done before that the Lions defense have given up that many rushing yards. But in our preview show, I highlighted been kind of gashed on the ground a little bit. Kyron Williams, almost 5 yards a carry. Rachaad White, 9 carries, got 6 yards a pop. Would have just smoked this defense if they had continued to run the football. This outside zone, I think, is going to give them a little bit of trouble here. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to get downhill. I think they're going to be able to utilize the size and really negate some of that speed that they have coming off the edge here. Now, they've been really good at stopping the run. That's been something that they've wanted to do, but it's gotten a little leaky here. I think Christian McCaffrey, and I think the Niners are going to be up big in this game at some points here. I think they may try to salt this away. So give me Christian McCaffrey over 86.5 rush yards.
So I don't know if both of these can hit, but we're sure going to hope they both do. I got Christian McCaffrey over 35.5 receiving yards. I think that there's going to be a lot of, they're going to pick on Alex Anzalone and whoever else out of the backfield here. Brian Branch has been awesome. If you're going to task a rookie to run across the field to cover Christian McCaffrey from a safety spot, you're in for a long day. And I also just feel when things get tight, Brock Purdy looks at 23. Kyle Shanahan looks at 23, and I expect more of that. And, honestly, we could hit this on one screen. So that's a lot of what I'm hoping.
Yeah, and Brian Branch will be covering George Kittle. So it may be linebacker. Full. Yeah, absolutely. And Tyson, I'll tell you how we can both hit that is if Deebo Samuel is out for this game. Like, we don't know that as we're recording this. Maybe by the time this releases, we'll have a better idea. The betting market seems to suggest that he's not going to play in this game based on some of the juice numbers that we're getting here, which is why I'm going with my next play, Brandon Ayuk over 5.5 receptions at plus 116. I think even if Deebo Samuel plays, this is a playable number. So if it goes down to 4.5 with Deebo Samuel, I think you can juice that up to 6 and do an alt receptions line there. I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be featured in this offense a lot. I think they saw last week on tape, there were moments in time that they should have gotten Ayuk involved offensively. I think they're going to target him early. I think they're going to target him often. And I think he's going to be open a lot against this secondary. The number one wide receivers have shredded up the Lions. This to me feels like a huge bounce back spot. 8 receptions, 100+ yards, something like that for Ayuk. I think he goes nuts. I'm going to take the plus number here on his receptions prop.
Yeah, and I didn't do any looking, but I don't know what the number is, but I think that Brandon Ayuk is due for a big gainer here. So as far as what his longest reception is to play in the game, as long as that thing is hovering somewhere around 32, 33 yards, I think you'd be okay to take that one more time for the kid, man. Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown score. This is just a guy who finds the end zone, who's an incredibly talented running back. And honestly, David Montgomery's been the goal line back all year, and he's been scoring a bunch of touchdowns. And he got hurt, and then it was like, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs can just, he can score from the 10. We don't have to be on the goal line. I expect him to get in the end zone here. I know Fred Warner's awesome. Dre Greenlaw's awesome. I just happen to think Jahmyr Gibbs is too.
I like it, man. Jahmyr Gibbs has been a dog. And Brandon Ayuk, the longest reception prop, over 27.5 is his number. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think he's smashing. Like I that's what I meant more. I'd take it up to 32, 33, like if I had to. But I really think this is he's going to get behind somebody, and they're just going to rip the ball, man.
Well, speaking of long receptions here, Tyson, I'm going to go back to the well here. My boy Jameson Williams, I'm taking over 28.5 receiving yards. Listen, they wanted to get him the football last week. They targeted him 4 times.
Football for 2 years.
Well, he's been off the field for a myriad of different reasons, but Jameson Williams is back. Tyson, do we remember how the 49ers have gotten beat this season? What's been the issue? Speed in the secondary. Yeah. PJ Walker and turning the football over against the Ravens. But speed in the secondary, they've had a hard time matching up with. So I think Jameson Williams, man, I think he can get behind this defense. I really do. I think he's going to get a target every once in a while, like on the deep comeback, or maybe he goes across the middle of the field, catches a big ball, and we're talking about, oh my God, J-Mo Williams is here. 28.5 receiving yards for this kid. Give me a break. He was my number one wideout coming out, Tyson, so maybe I'm a little jaded here, but I think he's poised for a big game. Let's go, Jameson Williams.
That's all right. I had Drake London, and I don't know, like the returns on that aren't like a ton better. It would be nice to see J-Mo get in the open field and take the governor off. I want to see this kid run for real, because we haven't necessarily got to see it with the ball in his hands yet in his career. And to wrap up the show this week for me, Detroit Lions +7, -102. I might end up with a push. The 49ers might blow them out. I just think Detroit's going to be pesky, stay around, and like I said in the previous show, I don't think they're going to blink. The only thing that makes me nervous they don't get here is if they get too cute, and that's my legitimate concern.
Tyson, Had to be done. Mono. I'm back on the Niners train here. So if you're listening, pick which side you agree with. If it's Tyson or myself, at least the show has one winner. So we're eating a little vig here. But I just think the Niners, this is a classic bounce back spot. You know, with Debo, without Debo, this maybe gets under the 7. I would take it. If he's in, you know, maybe you can try to middle it with the Lions. Maybe it goes up higher. I don't know. Don't be too cute with that. Whatever the case may be, I think if you like the side, you like it. I like the 49ers in the spot. Staying at home, staying focused. Lions coming off of emotional games and traveling over to the West Coast. I'm going to go Niners. I think this is a blowout here. Niners -7. And Jameson Williams catches a big ball as they're trying to catch up. Oh God, Tyson! I can't believe this is the second to last show that we're doing for all this. I mean, Super Bowl one's going to be nuts because we have like a million props, and we're going to go through it, all of them, pretty much. But as far as like these shows, I can't believe this is our last one before the weekend. It's crazy.
I know, and then it feels weird because this is like the teams we kind of figured were going to be here. There was, with the thought of the Bills or the Dolphins or the Eagles or the Cowboys or whoever else, but it was like kind of these 4 teams circled all year long, and now that they're here, I don't know who the hell's going to win these games. Like I was so sure before the lines got released, and now I'm like, man, I could see it this way or that way. But if you want to see, maybe Brad changes his mind and he decides he wants to go 16-0 as a show this week instead of 15-1. That'll be in the Chalkboard app. It's in the App Store, Google Play, wherever you download your apps. Group name is ISWIS presents the Roundtable Bets. We'll let you write in. It's free. Like Brad mentioned, we're going to have a ton of plays coming up on the Super Bowl. And honestly, probably not all of them are going to make it into the Super Bowl extravaganza betting show because, maybe the line on Polka Dot Tie will change for the call commentary team. So whatever, you're thinking going forward, hop in that Chalkboard app. Let us know what you're playing. Yeah, I haven't been playing a ton of the NBA, but Brad has been holding it down for us.
It's been heating up, man. It's been good so far. I think tonight's been a tough night, unfortunately, monitoring things. But when you said 16 or 15-1 instead of 16, though, it fully guarantees that we're not going undefeated this weekend, which makes me depressed that you laid it out there.
You did this.
So I know, I really did. No, we should be in simpatico together, but man, geez, what are you going to do here? All right, enough of that. On the way out, smash the like button if you watch it on YouTube. If you're listening in podcast form, give us a 5-star review, send us a comment, whatever you want to do there. It just helps us become more discoverable. All of your interactions and things like that really helps us out. And as always, we appreciate you listening and interacting with us. It really does go a long way for us. We do appreciate all the support. In the meantime, as well, subscribe, or follow us on socials, X, Instagram, and TikTok. It's the same handle at ISWIS_pod. Good luck with all your bets this weekend. Hope we made you some money. Hope you make some money. Hope to see you in the Chalkboard app to try to help us make some money as well as we get ready to close out the football season. So we'll be back breaking everything down that we just saw. A lot of good content coming out next week. So we'll talk to you all then, guys. Peace.